This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net, and it is Tuesday afternoon, the last day of September, and it's time for What in the World with
Paul Seaburn.
That's your name.
Wait a minute, Karen. Wait, stop the presses.
Okay. Yep.
Today's not the last day of September. Tomorrow's the last day of
Oh,
September.
I meant it's the last Tuesday.
Oh, the last Tuesday.
Last Tuesday. That's
Thank you
correct.
for
Okay.
correcting me.
Oh, so
Yep.
we need to start over.
I told you I'm tired.
Oh, that's right. Don't worry. If you start to doze off, John and I will make a lot of noise.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So yeah.
There we go. There we go.
I'm Paul Seaburn. We're here for What in the World. I'm here with Karen Moss, our producer and the media mogul at NewClevelandRadio.net. John DiNallo has joined us. He is our sports guy with What in the World of Sports. Hi, John.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Karen.
Hey,
John
how
is
are
in
you?
his Cleveland Browns shirt in honor of the fact that the Browns have a winning record for the first time since 2014. How about that? I think that's pretty great.
Hey,
Hooray.
good. Yes.
Karen, I know, is a huge Indians fan. The Indians are in the playoff. They're playing today. That's a night game, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a night game against the New York Yankees.
It's oh God, all over my screen. Once it's not on the camera. And then we're in Cleveland, Ohio. We're actually in Brecksville, North Royalton, and Sagamore Hill.
Yep.
But we are all in suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, where the big national first presidential debate is being held tonight. So Cleveland is the center of the world for one day, and we're glad because it's the best location in the nation and all that other stuff. So take that, Big Apple.
Okay.
Okay.
So we are not just the center of the best location in the nation. We are the best location in the world here at What in the World. We go everywhere on What in the World with stories that are real news, as always, sometimes strange, always funny. That's our motto. Today, we're going to be going to, let me look at my notes here. We're going to Scotland, where we take a look at some artificial tongues, John. This is for you.
Oh, my gosh.
Artificial tongues.
Artificial tongues, that's right. Then I got a bunch of space stories. We're going to talk about face cream if you ever go on to outer space, moon bathrooms. Not moon in bathrooms, but bathrooms on the moon.
I'm glad you clarified that.
I know. I did that just for you, John. We're going to talk about cursive writing, which I know all of us have done at one time in our lives.
Point, right.
Yeah, so we're going to find out a little bit about that. We're going to go to Poland, where we're going to talk about the Holy Grail for our friend Christoph in Poland. Hi. We're going to go to, we're going to talk about what you might say if you meet a space alien. I think I've got some Texas stories mixed in here somewhere for our friends down in Texas. And more news, more trivia, more sports with John. You name it. We got everything. And our goal at What in the World, if you're here for the first time, is to have a good time. Have a good time. No bad news, no politics other than the mention of the debates. Strictly real news that's fun. And if it's not fun, we'll make it fun.
We will.
An hour of laughs, good time, get you in a better mood for the rest of the evening, the rest of the day, the rest of the week, whatever it might be. It's Tuesday, right, Karen?
It's Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
We're on the air.
All right. Well, in that case, let's get right to it. And, we like to talk about world records. So I got a bunch of world records today. And in fact, that's what we're going to start off with. And I knew I had a Texas story. This one's from Texas. Woman in Texas sets a Guinness World Record for her collection of 1,622 different varieties of lip balm. BALM balm. I'm trying to get the L in there. Now, I know, Karen, who needs that many sticks of lip balm?
I didn't even know there were that many.
But I didn't either. And we're going to talk about why anyone would need that many other than to set a world record. So she, I'm not sure why she started this, but she wants to continue now that she has a world record. But if if they ever come up with a vaccine for chapped lips, she's out of a job, and that, her collection becomes worthless. And which brings up the question: is chapped lips really that big of a problem that we need this many kinds of lip balm to take care of it? If it's that bad, we should have a telethon, and find a cure for it. Which is, I think maybe we should do on What in the World. We should have a chapped lips telethon.
There is a cure. Just use petroleum jelly. You're fine.
But we're going to talk about petroleum jelly. So okay. See, this is what you get for not coming to rehearsal.
I know.
So what is lip balm anyways? It's wax, maybe some fragrance, maybe some oil, a little bit of coloring. That's pretty much about it. Believe it or not, it dates back to Cleopatra. Cleopatra actually used it. There's records of her talking about, let me see if beeswax, olive oil, and animal fat. That's what she used to keep her lips rich and succulent for Julius Caesar and Mark Antony and the snake. I guess I don't know. I'm not sure how. I don't remember exactly the whole story. But all natural ingredients. Okay, all natural ingredients. Now we go from there. I think that's what everybody used until the 1800s. In the 1800s, a guy by the name of Robert Cheeseborough invented petroleum jelly, which you brought up, Karen, using the residue that was found on petroleum rods in oil fields. So, the petroleum business, they make money however you can, off of whatever you can. So they scrape the stuff off of these rods, and then they're saying, well, we ought to be able to sell this stuff. Let's convince women to put it on their lips. And so he comes up with petroleum jelly. Now, before this, in the 1840s, and I was thinking about a way that I could develop my own lip balm. And this lady beat me to it. Her name was Lydia Maria Child. And back in the 1840s, she came up with a way of a method of developing a lip balm using, get ready for this, earwax.
Oh,
whoa.
no.
That's gross.
I thought it was a good idea. I thought you sell a little kit for collecting the earwax and maybe a little tube to put it in, and maybe a little bit of fragrance to put in there, and then you screw on the cap and you have a little tube of earwax lip balm. She beat me to it, and I'm glad she did because it didn't sell.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So sure, John. Thanks for backing me up on that.
Sorry.
So in 1880, a guy by the name of Dr. Fleet, C.D. Fleet was his name, in Lynchburg, Virginia, invented the lip balm as we know it today. Not the petroleum jelly, but something. It was actually the size of a candle, and it was made from wax. And guess what he called it? Chapstick. That name ring a bell?
Wow.
He
trademark now.
That's right. So he came up with the idea. He patented it. It looked like it came in foil, so it wasn't in a plastic tube. It was like a big candle wrapped in foil. Didn't sell. So he sold the rights to a guy by the name of John Morton, also in Lynchburg. Lynchburg is apparently the birthplace of chapstick. And so he gives it to his wife. I loved it. I get this. She says, this is too big for me to use. So she melts it down and forms it into little sticks. And they found a different kind of container to put it in. So it's actually his wife who came up with what we know of as chapstick today. He did pretty well with it. Then he sold the rights to A.H. Robbins. And this is in 1963. And the reason why I bring this up is because in 1963, there was still only one kind of chapstick for sale, period. One, okay? In 1971, they expanded to 4, okay? So just less than 50 years ago, 49 years ago, there were only 4 kinds of chapstick.
That's
and
enough.
then there must have been an explosion of chapped lips because this woman in Texas has 1,600 different kinds. So ingredients. What do you? Maybe I shouldn't ask this. What do you think is in chapstick, John? No, I'll ask John because I'm sure
Yeah,
Karen.
ask John.
What? Wait a minute. What's the question?
I'm
The
supposed
ingredients
be
to the
keeping Karen
chapstick?
awake, not you, John. What did you have for lunch, by the way?
I had the normal fare. I had like a mid.
Oh God, not the
taco
normal fare.
something like that. Something like that. I did. Okay, so wait a minute. What's the question? Honestly,
No, what do you think is in chapstick?
well, it's got to be some kind of. I don't know. Gel, I guess. I don't know. What's the gel made out of?
No.
For lack of a better phrase, gel,
Well,
GEL. I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. Beeswax is one. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Camphor, for the odor. Menthol, and I sad to say petrolatum. So there is petroleum products in there. Vitamin E, aloe, and something called oxybenzone. So I'm not sure what that is. Anything that's more than 3 syllables is probably bad. That's my rule, and I'm sticking to it. So now I'm going to throw out some names that you may remember that are associated with chapstick. Susie Chaffee. Do you remember her name, Karen? Susie Chaffee.
Susie
Known
Chapstick.
as Susie Chapstick. Yeah. What was she, John? Do you remember?
She's some kind of Olympic athlete or something.
Oh yeah, Olympic athlete. She was an Olympic skier.
Yep.
Skiers are obviously associated with chapstick.
Right. That's kind of what I thought.
So she made chapstick huge. Really, she probably caused the bulk of the chapstick explosion, and we should blame her for it. I hope she made a lot of money on it, Susie Chapstick. Another famous person who endorsed chapstick was Dr. J, who is John from basketball.
Yeah.
Dr. J.
Oh, Julius Erving.
Dr. Julius Erving, that's right. He was known as Dr. Chapstick in the commercial, and he used to, put it on, and he would tell kids about it. Back in the old days when commercials were entertaining. So anyway, so that's our story of the chapstick. I was going to get into what's the stuff that comes in the little tin can. It's a white cream. It also begins with a C. It's like camera or camp something, which is a spin-off of chapstick, and a spin-off of kind of like a cross between chapstick and petroleum jelly. But I figured at that point John would fall asleep on me, so
I'm not falling asleep. Wait a minute. Hey, give me equal time here, Paul. Give me equal time. I'm fine.
You're doing good, John. You're back with us. I'm glad to see you. Okay.
Yes, I am.
But I'm going to stick with cosmetics for a second for Karen's sake. So I love this. NASA, not that John doesn't need cosmetics, Karen. I don't mean to imply anything here. Wow. Okay. So NASA, of all people, NASA is endorsing face cream. They've teamed up with Estee Lauder to test face cream in space. So how do you test space cream? Space, that's hard to say. Space face cream. They put them on camera and they have them put it all over their face, and then they hold up the bottle so that everybody in the entire world and possibly universe knows that they're using Estee Lauder face cream. Now, if you know anything about space travel, and I know a little bit because of my work at Mysterious Universe, there's no gravity in space. Well, Karen, if there's no gravity,
You don't age as quickly.
that's right. There's nothing to pull down to make your face wrinkly. So there shouldn't be any wrinkles in space to begin with. This is all a money-making scam so NASA can get rich, getting endorsements. Next thing you know, John, this is going to be like NASCAR. The astronauts are going to be covered with patches. They're going to be endorsing everything, petroleum jelly, chapstick, you name it. The rockets, the poor rocket is going to be painted in all kind of different logos. They'll paint it orange for Tang.
Or for the Browns.
Or I like that idea, Karen, except this was a segue into my segment on Tang. So, so I believe that only people who grew up in the 60s, during the heyday of the space program, when it was still new and exciting, remember Tang. And it turns out, I didn't realize this, but Tang was invented like in 1957 or 58, and it didn't sell at all. And NASA was looking for stuff to feed the astronauts while they were in orbit. And John Glenn, the second American in orbit, took a little package of Tang with him that he mixed up and thought that it tasted good. So from that point on, Tang became associated with the US space program. Now, I thought eventually they gave up on it, but turns out it went all the way into the space shuttle program before they finally, I guess, found something else to dehydrate and rehydrate. But you can still get Tang at the store if you're interested. So they took it to the moon, and Buzz Aldrin, I think he may be one of the one or two left that walked on the moon, was asked about Tang, and in as only Buzz Aldrin could say, he said, "Tang sucks." So,
I can understand where he's coming from.
there you go.
I've had personal experience with Tang, as you said, from the 60s. We used to have that at the house. And
sure.
It was really tasteless. I mean, we would drink it, right?
But sweet.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was. Did you ever try snorting it, John?
I can honestly say I never have, Paul, and never really thought about that.
No.
Oh.
When you were in a different dorm than I was. You were at home.
That's right.
So anyway, believe it or not, so one more little Tang trivia. It was invented by Dr. Bill Mitchell. He worked for General Foods in between like 1940 and 1970. And not only did he invent Tang, he invented Pop Rocks, Cool Whip, and powdered eggs, all of which I don't think sold as well as Tang did. So I'm at Cool Whip maybe, but that's kind of a seasonal Easter kind of thing. So anyways, John, let's see if you're still here. What did you use to taste Tang with?
Well, what do you mean? I thought it was supposed to be orange. I thought it was supposed to be like some kind of orange juice.
Yeah. So what did you taste it with?
Water.
No. You drank it with water. But when you put it in your mouth, what did you taste it with? I'm giving it away, aren't I, Karen? Oh, yeah, Karen does.
Oh, I got it.
Okay, Karen, what's the answer? We'll get you ahead on
Your tongue.
Your tongue. That's right. Segue into the artificial tongue segment.
It was too obvious.
Oh, I'm sorry, John. So this story comes from Scotland. And believe it or not, engineers the biggest problem Scotland has today is not COVID. It's counterfeit scotch. Apparently, it's a huge business. I'm not sure what it is in Scotland. The home of scotch, the home of single malt, which I guess is the ultimate scotch. People are making counterfeit scotch and selling it for a high price, and then people open it up and they taste it with their real tongue. And as long as they haven't been drinking Tang, that they can taste the scotch, or maybe they mix it with the Tang. I'm not sure. They say this isn't single malt, and then they want a refund, and the company looks at it and they said, "Oh, this is counterfeit." I'm sorry. So big problem in Scotland. Who knew? So these scientists invented an artificial tongue that they can use to taste scotch, but they didn't want to have to open the bottle or open the whatever it is it comes in. So they used laser. This is really interesting. This is really a clever way of doing it. They use something called Raman spectroscopy. Has nothing to do with ramen noodles. And I'm not sure what. I think the guy's name was Robin. They beam a laser beam through the bottle of scotch, just like on the cover of Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Okay, they beam a laser beam through one side, and out the other side comes all these colors, and the colors tell you what chemicals are in the scotch, and they know which ones are in real single malt, excuse me, and which ones are in counterfeit scotch. So they call it, so there's no tongue involved, and yet they call it an artificial tongue. I think, I would have Googled it, but I know what comes up when you Google artificial tongue, and it's not good. So kids, if you're listening, don't try this at home.
Yeah, don't Google.
Don't Google artificial tongue. So going back to space for a second. NASA's getting ready to go back to the moon. They're getting ready to go to Mars. So they're building all new spaceships to handle more than 3 astronauts. They're building them for like 4 and above. And one of the problems that they have is that 4 astronauts in a little tiny capsule are going to overwork the space toilet. And apparently the toilets that Buzz Aldrin and John Glenn and all the other astronauts use just can't handle the load, so to speak. So they're working on new space toilets. So this one is called, the one they're trying now is called the Universal Waste Management System, UWMS. And the problem is not so much, and I know you, John, you're concerned about this. The problem is not so much what they do with the waste, how they, hold it until they can do something else with it, but the smell. So they have to deal with this for a month, I guess, to get to the moon and hang out there and come back. So the goal of the system is to reduce the smell of 4 people using the same toilet in a single little capsule for a month. Now, if they can do that, I'm sure the astronauts will be happy. But NASA, in its, we ought to be able to think of a way to sell this mind, ought to be talking to college dorm builders, because if you can reduce the smell of 4 people in a single room, college dorm builders are going to love something like that. That's just what they need when kids go back to living in the dorm, which could be never. I don't know, but we're not going to talk about that. So you may wonder how much something like this cost. Believe this is why NASA has to sell out to Estee Lauder. The next mission to the moon, one mission, is going to cost $28 billion with a B, $28 billion, of which 16 billion goes just to that little module that's going to have the space toilet in it. So I guess half goes to the space toilet, the other half goes to God only knows what. For that kind of money, it better have a wet bar, it better have a big screen TV so they can watch the Browns.
Yeah.
It's got to have.
You'd expect that anyway, right?
That's right. It's got to be decked out to the hilt for $16 billion. So once they get to the moon, it's entirely possible, despite what science tells you, it's entirely possible that they may run into a space alien, to an extraterrestrial. And if that were to happen to you, Karen, run into an extraterrestrial, what would you say to that particular, providing you in a position where you could talk, because you never know what those extraterrestrials will do to you. But let's assume that they just walked up to you and got out of the spacecraft, walked up, and you had to say something, first person in the world to say something to an alien. What would you say?
Where can I unload my shit?
No, that's what the alien would say. But that's a good one. I like that. Oh my God, Karen, I'm writing that one down.
Okay, you do that.
But, would you speak? There's so many questions that come to mind. Would you speak to them in English? Would you use sign language? Would you draw a picture in the dirt? Because, they came from another planet, maybe another galaxy. They don't necessarily speak English. So you're going to have to think about those kinds of things.
Well, they do on Star Trek.
Pardon?
They do on Star Trek. They speak
English. See, now that's where we learn everything about aliens, is on Star Trek. And we're going I suspect that that's what NASA uses too. So they probably have a deal with them. So anyway, so I would think that NASA would prepare astronauts for something like this. Well, it turns out NASA doesn't, but Roscosmos, which is the Russian space program, they do. They have a special class that the cosmonauts go to learn how to talk to space aliens. not making this up.
I believe you.
So there's a new mission going on, scheduled to be launched in mid-October on the Soyuz capsule, back up to the space station. So they did an interview in Russia where the 2 cosmonauts and 1 American astronaut are training. So the cosmonaut, Sergei Kudzverchov, was asked the same question I asked Karen. If you meet a space alien, what will you say? So he says, I think that when meeting intelligent extraterrestrial life, in a Russian accent, of course, we will exhibit friendliness, goodwill, and consideration, just as we do when meeting intelligent and unintelligent life on Earth. I'll go with the intelligent. I'm not sure we talk like that. So, but that's what he revealed, is that that they do have a program for training astronauts in case the space life is more than a microbe, as opposed to NASA, which believes that space life is a microbe. So they don't worry about talking to microbes. They deck the astronauts out with plenty of hand sanitizer and Lysol to kill the microbes because they don't want to bring them back to Earth. So there's the Russian program versus the American. Now, they asked the same question of the American. Her name is, I'll give her name. I don't want to embarrass her. Kelly, I think her name is Kelly. Oh, I lost it. I guess, so I won't embarrass her. So she says the same thing. She says, I think it's really important for everyone to vote. If we can do it from space, then I believe folks can do it from the ground too. It's critical to participate in our democracy. We consider it an honor to be able to vote from space. So she changes the subject completely. She doesn't talk about alien. She talks about the fact that she's excited because she's going to vote in space.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, I had a problem with that, especially if she's in the middle of voting and there's a knock at the space station door and there's an alien there. And they come in. How's she going to explain to an alien what voting is? John?
I don't think it can be done, Paul. I don't think she can explain it.
Hold on, yeah, show them the ballot. Who would you pick? I have no idea.
Well, obviously the person or the creature she's speaking to has no understanding of that. So it's
it'd be like E.T., with that big finger.
Exactly. That's a good.
Take that big lighted finger and point to who you think I should vote for.
There you go. There you go. Oh my gosh.
So anyway, so I don't know what to say. So let's get out of space. It's time to move on from space back down to Earth. So John, this story's for you. A man was accused of breaking into Miller Park. Miller Park. Does that ring a bell? Who plays at Miller Park?
The baseball stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin played home field for the
Milwaukee Brewers.
The Brewers. There you go. Right. No, they don't have that's Green Bay that plays them. Anyways, the Milwaukee Brewers. That's right. So this guy breaks into Miller Field. He steals a tractor and proceeds to start driving across the outfield in the tractor. That's my little illustration of how you drive a tractor.
It's a nice enhancement, by the way. Nice enhancement.
Oh, thank you. So of course he gets apprehended by the authorities. And they ask him, sir, what are you doing on this tractor? And he says, I'm practicing my cursive writing.
On the tractor?
Honest to God, cursive writing. Okay, so only people of a certain age, let's say, even remember what cursive writing is, and certainly remember practicing it. John, I know you went to Catholic school as I did, and we had nuns who made us practice making O's and A's and all that other stuff.
I remember those days. I remember those days well. Yes, exactly.
Right. Hours on end. That was the way they disciplined us. Karen,
Yes.
I don't know what did you go to a public school or to a religious?
Public school. We used
Public
to get our
school.
hands slapped if we didn't do it right.
There you go. There you go. That was the standard punishment. In Catholic school, it was with a yardstick. So, God bless the nuns. They knew how to handle us, and they knew how to wield a yardstick. So, believe it or not, that's what he said. He's practicing cursive writing. Nobody does cursive writing anymore. That was going to be my point. The cursive writing was invented because of the quill pen. The quill pen, which was used for centuries before finally getting thrown out, had problems if you lifted the quill off the paper. As long as the quill was touching the paper, the ink that it had absorbed would continue to flow. As soon as you lifted it up, the ink would dry out and they'd have problems. So they invented, believe it or not, they invented cursive writing. The Romans did this, and the Indians separately in India invented cursive writing, different styles, specifically to compensate for using a quill pen. So what do you think killed cursive writing? The ballpoint pen. Because unlike the fountain pen, the ballpoint pen, you could write, you could pick it up, you could write, you could pick it up, click it, suck on it, chew on the pen, the big pen, all that good stuff. And it still wrote. It still wrote. You didn't have a problem. All of a sudden, nuns were looking and saying, well, gee, I could use this time that I normally had practicing cursive writing to do something else, like, I don't know, dusting the erasers, I think, slapping the erasers. So anyway, it's the ballpoint pen that caused the demise of cursive writing. And according to some statistics I was looking at, it happened very fast and very late. It took a while for teachers to give it up because it is a disciplinary thing. So now it's less than 12% of schools have anything to do with cursive writing.
Really?
Yes. And yet, the other thing that did it was computers. Once kids started using keyboards, there was no need to even use the ballpoint pen. So they began teaching keyboarding, which is why not only can kids not write cursively, they can't really print very well either. They keyboard. And writing was replaced by keyboarding classes. Turns out, causes all kind of problem. They found out that writing by hand, they compared students who took notes by hand to students who took notes using their laptop. And they found that students who took notes by hand showed advantages in both factual and conceptual learning. They also, in a different study, found that kids with dyslexia, which is a very common problem these days, learned better and retained more when they wrote by hand rather than when they were keyboarding or to a computer screen, and learn more words, all that good stuff. So really, we need to bring back cursive writing. And in Ohio, once a week, we do practice cursive writing on Saturdays when Ohio State plays. The band comes out and shows the entire world how to cursively write Ohio.
Script Ohio as it is. I understand.
There you go. And what song do we sing? Oh wait, I think don't they sing like Beautiful Ohio or something?
Oh, they sing on Hang On Snoopy.
Is it Hang On Sloopy that they sing when they're doing the Script Ohio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there's a reason for that, but that's for a different show. So, so now, Karen, I have been to your domicile, and I know that you have one of those ring things on your doorbell.
Yeah, I do have a ring doorbell.
Who's at the door? John, I don't know if you have one of those. I don't.
Do not. We do not.
Do not. No, we don't either. Okay. So, but that company's making oodles of money. So they're investing in new technology. So they've come out with something, and Karen, you might be interested in this, called the Always Home Cam. Now, this is for when we're actually, like people like John, who actually leave the house occasionally.
And goes out with his friends.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, I've never gotten so much heat on this show than I have on this show.
Oh wait, John, I'm not done with you yet.
I'll never live it down. Oh my God.
So anyway, this thing, it's called the Always Home Cam, and I was going to bring a picture, but it's just a little box. And what you do is you call into it with your cell phone, and all of a sudden a little thing rises up from the box, and it's a little drone. And you can direct it to fly around your home and look at windows or look at doors. So if you forget something, or you didn't lock the door, you'll know, and you can go home and lock the door. Now, to me, I don't need that. All I need is one camera pointed at the stove, specifically at the on-off switch, because that's the thing that always bothers me. Did I turn the stove off or not? And that was I inherited that from my mom with the gas stove, which was worse. So anyway, so of course, I'm thinking that with my computer background, how easy is it going to be to hack into this thing? Very easy. So next thing you know, a burglar is going to hack into it, start flying that thing all over the place, find out where the jewelry is, find out where the open window is, and next thing you know, it's patting that little thing on the head and saying, "Thank you so much for your help." Or worse, Alexa figures out how to direct it because it's voice controlled, and you send it into the where your PC is, and has it ordering stuff on Amazon from the parent company of Alexa. I think that's Alexa. I don't know. So anyways, I don't like the idea. I love technology, but that just sounds too scary for me. And speaking of scary, well, let's talk about Poland for a second. That's a joke. Christoph, if you're listening, that was a joke.
He's not with us today.
Okay. So John, you know about the Knights Templar, the famous
Yes, I do.
Knights of the Crusades,
Yes.
protectors of the Holy Grail. Well, there was a story recently about the Knights Templar. Turns out they spend a lot of time in Poland, and there's a number of chapels in Poland that are dedicated, that were made by the Knights Templar, and they were doing LIDAR, it's called, which is laser directed radar images of the ground. And underneath this particular chapel, they found some graves that they believe belonged to the Knights Templar. So they're trying to find out if there's anything in there, but what they're looking for is the Holy Grail, because the rumor is that the Knights took the Holy Grail with them, which they were protecting, to Poland. And right about that time, the Crusades ended. I forget, something brought down the Knights Templar. So they were stuck in Poland, and they didn't want to get caught with the Grail. So they threw it into a lake. They put it in a box and threw it into a lake. And it's somewhere in Poland. So they're thinking, oh, well, let's look in this chapel and see if we can find it. They didn't find it. But there's these little chapels all over Poland. I never realized this. And there's also lakes. So they're looking in lakes. They're looking underneath all these chapels, looking for the Holy Grail, the cup from the Last Supper, in Poland of all places. I don't know if Indiana Jones is going to do a trip to Poland as a result of this or not. But or Monty Python, because that's where I learned everything I know about Holy Grail and the Knights, from Monty Python. And I know there was nothing in any of the movies or any in the plays about going to Poland. Had they gone to Poland, they would have encountered the Knights of Kowalski, which I don't remember. That was a play on the Knights of Ni, Karen. Do you remember the Knights of Ni? No, you're not. you're not a Python fanatic.
I remember the Knights of Ni.
The Knights of Ni, John. That's right.
Yeah, sure I do.
The Knights who say Ni. That's what they. The Knights.
That's it.
So anyways, let's move on to what everybody's always interested in. That's world record. We're watching the time here. So I have a couple of world records for you. One comes from Tennessee. Lady in Tennessee sets a Guinness World Record by hugging a tree in a Chattanooga park for 10 hours and 5 minutes. 10 hours and 5 minutes hugging a tree, Karen. You don't hug Rich for 10 hours and 5 minutes.
No way. Nope.
So no offense, Rich, when you watch this later in the future. But it's so this woman in a park hugs a tree for 10 hours. She could have gone longer, she says, but there was a line of dogs behind her waiting to use the tree, and they were starting to get restless. So after she was done, they examined her to see if she was okay, and everything was fine except she was barking a little bit and acting kind of squirrely. So sorry, I had to work those in, but that was a real Guinness World Record, which, as I always say, I can't believe things that people do to set these records, including the next guy. So this guy is in India. He broke the Guinness World Record when he managed 147 skips of a rope in 30 seconds while wearing roller skates. And that one, if you don't believe me, I have a picture of him skipping rope on roller skates. Now these are the 4-wheel roller skates, not the 2-wheel one, the inline skate.
Wow.
Yeah. Fast too. I watched the video, and he's jumping, 147 in 30 seconds is a lot. That's do the math, 4 a second. So that's
Paul.
quite a fast amount of jumping.
Hey, Paul, let me interject if I may. Let me interject.
Oh,
So in doing my research on
well, let me. Have you ever jumped ropes? I wanted to ask you if you've ever skipped rope, John.
many years ago, many
because you haven't. Anyone who had sisters, you were forced to skip rope.
Well, you either
I know,
like be one of the people that held the rope, or you would sometimes.
That's the other thing. That's right. Now it's promoted. I know I asked John to do some research on it. It's promoted as fitness, but the only time I ever saw any athlete using a rope was a boxer. Boxers were notorious for jumping rope.
Right.
Why is that? Well, I took a quick look to find out. It turns out that they do it because it strengthens their wrist, it strengthens their shoulders, which are both used by boxers, and that movement when they go back and forth between feet simulates the shuffling that they do when they're boxing.
Oh.
So it's like the sport that was designed, an exercise designed for boxers. That still doesn't interest me in doing it. So I asked John. I said, John, there's got to be there's more to this than meets the eye. And as always, John knows where to go. And so John,
hey, I don't like the insinuation on that. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm getting out of this. I've already dug my hole too deep here. So John, tell us a little bit about skipping rope.
Be happy to do that, Paul and Karen. So believe it or not, there is an actual organization that is named the Jump Rope Institute. Now, this organization has the ongoing goals.
Anyways,
hard to believe in a way, but here's what these goals are. Number one is teaching jump rope history, jump rope fitness, jump rope health, jump rope cross training, and jump and jump rope recreation. So there's all these facets that this institute is emphasizing to people. Okay, for the average person.
Organization promotes all
exactly. It's called the Jump Rope Institute. But you may want to go back to the origin.
Okay, yeah.
Recognized origin, and I'll qualify that later. But in ancient times, the Egyptians,
of course,
and the Australian Aborigines, they used vines and flexible bamboo, and then combined with jumping was actually a form of recreation for them. In fact, a major form of recreation.
Vines.
Yeah, I mean, vines and the bamboo is giving them a chance to do what they want to do and be happy.
Yeah.
The first actual evidence of jump rope activity can be seen in medieval paintings, where children are depicted jumping rope on the cobblestone streets of Europe.
Oh.
Now these paintings go back to the 1600s in Western Europe, and the sport spread in one form or another throughout the other countries of Europe, then to the Netherlands, and then eventually to North America.
Of course.
Early Dutch settlers in the New World are recognized as the first rope jumpers in the Americas.
Dutch.
And as the sport took hold, and as the sport took hold in following centuries, as America developed as a country, it is not surprising that one of the most popular jumping games is called double Dutch.
Double Dutch. Double.
Well, I have
so
a quick
actually
aside on
came
that.
from the Dutch.
I have a quick aside. I talked to my mom yesterday. Okay,
Yeah.
my mom is 91, and she asked me, "What is your subject going to be for tomorrow?" I said, "Jump roping, or rope, jumping rope." She goes, "Well, me and my sisters, we did a thing all the time called the double Dutch." So
Yep.
I guess there's
God bless her.
actual evidence there if you
Good
trust
for
my
her.
mom,
Yeah.
which I do, by the way. But so anyway, but there are other jumping rope games,
Oh, of course.
other rope jumping games, I should say, double under. And this is a high basic jump, turning the rope twice under the feet, then turning the rope 3 times is called a triple under. And in competitions, participants may attempt quadruple quads and quintuple unders, quints, using the same method. Now,
Wow.
This is
think how
so this is
involved that is. I mean, you have to
5
be
times.
physically coordinated to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
Karen, could you
people-
I
even
can
do
barely do one.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, it's for young people.
Unbelievable. And it
Yeah.
gets worse, I'm sure.
Oh, it does. So now the crisscross, also
Crisscross,
known as crossover or cross arms,
That's the,
this is by performing the basic jump while crossing arms in front of the body. So
Right.
that's what, again,
okay.
Yep.
doing that in different fashion
Yeah.
will have that come about. There's also the EB front back cross or sailor, and this is where you perform the crisscross while crossing one arm behind the back. Now, these techniques, okay, you needed to take time. Paul, by the way, that gentleman that had the roller skates on that
Yeah.
did the 147 or whatever,
Yeah.
I looked up research and he said at one point he was practicing his craft 4 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Wow.
Well,
Now, what kind of commitment is
wanna
that?
be good
That's
at something,
unbelievable
John.
dedication. That's
I
unbelievable.
know.
Okay, there's a few more. The toad, which is an interesting name.
I'm already getting a headache
Yeah.
Yeah.
thinking about this. Yeah, my back is bothering me. Okay,
No
so
kidding. I mean, it's
what could be
unbelievable.
worse than the crisscross?
Oh, it is absolutely. And then there's a few more. The toad, the leg over.
The
cougar-
toad. What's the toad?
Well, here, okay, the toad
Oh.
performing the crisscross with one arm crossing under the opposite leg from the inside.
What?
Yeah, that's an actual technique that experienced rope jumpers are able to do and perform
Obviously,
well.
yeah.
There's also the leg over Kruger, which is a basic jump with one arm hooked under the adjacent leg. Now, I don't know how many people can do this, but
I
guess
can't hook
they're
one
contortionist,
without jumping. I
hold
can't
it
do
up, so to speak. But
that.
then there's also the frog or donkey kick, and in this one, wait a minute, the
I don't want to get
participant
caught doing
With
that.
a handstand, returns to their feet and turns the rope under them, and a more advanced version turns the rope during the return to the ground. Now, that's just too.
Yeah.
How much time do you have to spend to really start to be able to not only one be good at this, but then enjoy doing it? Oh, I don't know.
That's it right there.
That's some strong
Enjoy
constitution
doing it.
there. That's the way I see it. Oh boy. So anyway, now the most underwater rope jumps was set by Peter Nestle.
Whoa, wait a minute. Wait.
How do you do it
go from
underwater?
we go from the playground to underwater.
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of ground to cover here. Okay. Well, you know what? Again, this is like the skipping world records. Okay.
Underwater rope jumping.
Well, yes. Well, wait a minute. The most underwater rope jumps was set by Peter Nestle, a 7-time world jump rope champion. In 2014 in Raleigh, North Carolina, he did 1,871 rope jumps underwater.
Underwater.
Wow.
Well, now, okay, I could see because you got I could do it underwater because it's probably slower. But 1,000? Did he have to hold his breath? What?
Well,
I didn't.
I don't have the details on that, but I mean, I don't know.
I didn't want to think about this.
Well, it's a record, so
It's a
give him
record.
credit for
So there, yeah.
oh,
He
now
got the
wait,
medal. What did you? Do you have a medal?
I have a more bizarre one for you.
Oh, but more bizarre than that.
Trust me on this one. The world
okay.
record for most rope jumps wearing swim fins there's a fascination with swim fins. If you remember from some of those other sports we were
Yeah,
talking, people wearing swim fins when they're
right.
doing running, underwater and so forth. Well, here's a lady. Okay, Kazuya Kusangi in 2017 in Japan, she performed 167 rope jumps in 1 minute.
With fins on.
What?
Swim fins.
Whoa.
Yeah. The world
Oh.
record for most rope jumps while wearing ski boots is
Ski boots.
161 rope
With
jumps.
skis or without? Right, without skis.
Just saying, I mean, there's a lot of
I'd like to see that.
covering more ground here. We only have so much of the show left, But and finally, for all of us animal lovers, the world record for the most rope jumps by a dog is set by Geronimo, a 2-year-old border collie and Kelpie mix. In 2012, in New York City, Geronimo achieved 91 rope jumps in 1 minute.
Oh my
Now,
God.
Now, I'm a dog lover, and I happened to find that story. And if you don't believe it, here's a picture of Geronimo skipping rope.
It's poor torture to the dog.
Oh, I don't know.
Hey,
What do you
that's a
call
record.
doing it underwater, Karen?
Oh, so it's like obviously going to the extreme, like extreme sports, obviously that kind of thing.
Obviously, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, let's not get away from the whole premise of jumping rope. It's recreation.
It is.
It can be
And
competition.
fitness, yeah.
Right. It can be competition, of course, but it's recreation. People enjoy doing it. And
Well-
unfortunately, at this stage of the game, I can't do it.
I just have to
Forget the
share.
ski boots, forget the fins, forget the underwater.
There you
Just-
go.
Well,
Forget the frog and the donkey kick and
my
whole
brothers really liked my jump ropes.
your mother.
You know,
yeah.
My brothers did. You know
Your
why?
mother. Oh, okay.
Because
Why?
they would tie me up with them so I wouldn't bother them.
Well, that sounds like a normal activity for brothers and sisters, right?
Now there's a fitness activity.
That is a fitness
Tying up
activity,
your sister.
absolutely. Oh boy.
Holy smoke, John! Thank you so much for all that information on skipping rope. I don't know what else to say. I never expected it to be that. Jumping. I can't get over jumping in fins. I just even underwater is not as bad as
Right.
jumping in fins. I can't.
Well,
have you ever had fins on, John?
I have you know what? I'm not a big water person, so I can honestly say never have. Never have.
No. Has to have booze in it before you're a water person. No, I have. I've done some snorkeling, and I can't imagine. It's hard enough once you get out of the water to walk,
Right.
Oh,
let
no kidding.
alone skip
Oh, no
rope.
kidding. Sure.
What, as people of our generation say, what were they smoking when they came up with this idea? They were snorting Tang. That's what they were doing.
That's what we were doing. You got it.
Tasting it with their tongue.
Yeah.
Holy smoke! This show has just gone right off the rails, and we're going to continue on off the rails with Bluff the co-host.
And
All
John
right.
won last
Right
week.
on time. Yeah. So Bluff the co-host for all of our fans and anyone who's not tuned in. I will read 3 stories similar to the ones that we've been talking about during the beginning of the show, with the added challenge that some of them may be real and some may be a bluff. Could be 1, could be 2, could be all 3. It's up to Karen and John. And if you're playing at home, you're welcome to play at home. I believe that Steeler Girl and Tex Chick and the lovely Donna all compete against each other on YouTube. So if you want to get in on that, log into YouTube. I think you have to have a name, a pseudonym or whatever you call yourself. So, but you're welcome to join in on that. But in the meantime, it's Karen against John against me. And John is on a high because John won last week resoundingly, if I remember correctly. I'm sure you do.
Of course I do. In fact, I was very happy. In fact, I'm not dreading right now, but I'm just hoping I can deliver.
Well, I spent an extra 10 minutes just looking for really strange stories for you, John.
Sure you did.
So let's see how we do. So here we
Okay,
go.
let's go.
Here we go. Hands on the buzzer. Story number 1. Sometimes it feels like no matter how hard you try to please your customers, you can't win. That's the case with Spirit Airlines, which is trying to stay in business during these tough economic times by offering free tickets from any airport it flies from to San Francisco, where it just opened a new gate. Francisco, the tickets go for free to anyone named Francisco, first name or last name. So Francisco Lindor of the Cleveland Indians will qualify. And in fact, he's already applied for his free ticket after the Indians win the World Series. Unfortunately, the system got screwed up by a guy by the name of Sam Francisco, who was trying to get 2 tickets because he claims that his parents wanted to name him San Francisco, but the priest who baptized him refused and made him Sam, and that's what's on his birth certificate. He even brought a note from his mother explaining it to the ticket office at Spirit Airlines. When they said, no, you only get 1, Sam Francisco sued the airline for false advertising. Spirit had to suspend the giveaway until the case is resolved. Sorry, Frankie Lindor. So, Spirit Airlines giving free tickets to anyone named Francisco, screwed up by some idiot named Sam Francisco. Greedy. What do you think, Karen? Real or bluff?
I haven't heard anything about this at all anywhere. I know it's a real story. At least I think it is, but I'm going to say real.
Karen says it's real. Okay. John, what do you think?
I'm going to say false. I'm going to say it's a bluff because what kind of, the name from San, I really was going to be San Francisco instead of San. I don't buy it. No, I'm saying that's a bluff. That's a bluff.
John says it's a bluff. Karen says it. Oh, John says it's a bluff. Okay. It's a bluff.
I lost again.
Karen, that's okay.
Believe it or not, just as an aside, when I was baptized, there was another kid whose name was like Kyle or something. And the Monsignor who was doing the baptizing refused to bless him, to baptize him, because it wasn't a saint's name. So sometimes I dig really deep to come up with bluffs. So anyway, way to go, John. Okay, so John's ahead 1-0. Story number 2. Because so many students are foregoing college during the pandemic, many schools are being forced to cut at their least popular degree programs like art history. When that happened to the daughter of a man in New York, he decided he would send his daughter to Paris instead to study art history at the Louvre. In order to pay for it, though, he is on a fundraising bicycle trip from Mona, New York to Lisa, Florida, a distance that is exactly the same as the distance from New York to Paris that she would be traveling. Anyone can sponsor all or a portion of the trip from Mona to Lisa by donating at the Mona Lisa bike trip on Kickstarter. In appreciation, donors will be sent photos of the actual Mona Lisa when the girl finally makes her trip. Her father is getting in the mood for the bike trip by riding his Peloton while watching Tour de France videos. Okay, so his daughter can't go get her art history degree, so he's going to send her to France, riding from Mona to Lisa, raising money. John, you're a man of the internet. You probably heard about this story, right?
You know what, Paul and Karen? I'm going to say it's real. I'm going to say
John says it's real. All right. Okay, Karen, how about you?
God. This has to be a bluff.
Has to be a bluff.
Has to be, because I got to win something.
Karen says it has to be a bluff. John says it's real. The score is tied. It's a bluff.
Oh, thank God. I redeemed myself.
Okay, you're back in competition here. Here we go.
Yep.
Oh yeah, here we go. Now we got a real game. Bottom of the ninth, 1-1. Points are doubled, unlike baseball. Points are doubled now for story number 3. So get ready, hands on the buzzer, story number 3. A man in France says he lost his job as a kindergarten teacher because he had his eyeballs tattooed black. And one of his pupils complained that it scared him into having nightmares. The teacher can't understand why the child was bothered by his tattooed eyeballs, since he is already covered from his bald head to his sandaled feet with tattoos, including having a tattooed black tongue. He claims none of the other children in the kindergarten class has a problem with his tattoos because they see him up close, while the one with the nightmares saw him from far away and he looks strange from that distance. Fortunately, he's been working at the school for years and has a good teaching record otherwise, so the principal just relieved him of his duties teaching kindergarten, but will keep him on, black eyeballs and all, for grades 1 through 4. Okay, so this one comes from France. A teacher covered in tattoos from head to toe, didn't bother anybody. He gets his eyeballs tattooed black. All of a sudden, one of the kids says it gives him nightmares. Gets fired from the kindergarten job, but the school keeps him anyways because he's a good teacher.
Well, I really have a headache. I should have fallen asleep.
If your eyeballs were tattooed black, Karen, we wouldn't see the pupil because yours just rolled into the back of your head.
I don't even know if you can tattoo an eyeball.
Oh.
So
you may not want to Google that.
I don't even want to see what it would look like if it's real. I'm going to say this is a bluff. It's just
a bluff. Okay.
too odd.
So he's okay. The kindergarten teacher with the tattooed eyeball. I think that's a band name, if I'm not mistaken. Or a song. Okay, John, how about you, man of the world?
I'm going to pray it's a bluff. Let me ask you this question, okay? I understand the prevalence and acceptance of tattoos worldwide, but why would a school hire a teacher, regardless as to how good he is or how capable he is, if he's covered with tattoos?
Well, remember, John, I said France.
I know. Well, that's just my thinking. So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
John says it's a bluff. Karen, you say it's a bluff as well? Okay, I'm going to answer it with this.
No.
Yes, that is the kindergarten teacher. He looked that way except for the black eyeballs and had no problems. When he tattooed his eyeballs, and I don't know how to do that. I don't even want to know how to do it. It scared one of the little kids in the class, in the kindergarten, 3-year-old kid in the kindergarten class. So the parents complained. So they relieved him of his duties as a kindergarten teacher, but kept him on for elementary school for grades 1 through 4 because he was such a good teacher. Isn't that blew me away when I saw that. I said, "Oh, this is perfect for Bluff the co-host." And apparently it was, because I bluffed both of you.
You bluffed both of us. Yeah, you did.
Well, but good news, John. You ended up in a tie, which I believe counts for what, a half a point in hockey or something like that.
Yes. Well,
we don't have sudden death.
They were good. They were good bluffs, though. Good bluffs. But I hate to keep harping on this, but this kindergarten and then this elementary school, I guess we'll have to track to see like their graduates, like what they do. If in like 20 years from now, they become leading scientists or become leading researchers, and they can always trace it back to their guidance from their tattooed kindergarten teacher or teacher from grade 1 through 4. They can attribute their love of learning and interest in learning to this gentleman.
They're very artistic, is what you're trying to tell.
That's right. He's got a very creative streak in him, for sure.
Well,
all right. Well, yeah. So we're at the end. Karen's rushing us. That boy, this is like the Oscars. They're playing the music. Okay. So, John, thank you so much again, as always, for the great trivia on skipping rope. And I apologize for picking on you, but We've known
It
each
was
other a
fun.
long time. You'll get even with me. I know it.
Oh, you know what? That turnaround is fair play, or turnabout is fair
Yes.
play. So wait till next week's show, Paul.
There you go. Okay. And Karen, thank you so much for
Thank
everything you do
you.
at newclevelandradio.net and for What in the World. Thank you for everyone for listening. Tune in next week. Check out newclevelandradio.net for all the great podcasts there. And again, thank you, Karen. Have a great week. I hope next week we're talking about Indians victories, Browns victories, and
Absolutely.
all that other stuff.
We will.
Sounds good.
Have
Sounds
a
great.
great
Have a good
day.
week, everyone. Have a good week.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.